So how did you scale with that many apartments and places and you're in different cities. I'm all in one place. But how did that work for you?
Okay, so backtracking to Miami, I flew out there, and I had one of my homeboys, like, he paid for his own flight and everything. He flew out there, he helped me set the place up. So while we out there, we sleeping in an empty apartment while we setting this apartment up. I put an ad on Craigslist for a maid, for someone just to come and clean the place in between bookings. Like I said, I already had 3 months worth of bookings set up, and she was relatively cheap. I think I was just paying her, I want to say like $40 to clean each and every time. So long story short is, halfway through my lease there, I signed the 18-month lease. A different property management company came in, and they required residents to come down and meet each and every guest that you have. Like, if you was to come visit me in Miami, I would have to come all the way down with my resident ID card to let you in the building. Mind you, I'm in Texas at the time. I don't live in Miami. So what I did, I had to fly back and forth, literally letting people in and out the apartment. So I'm kind of making money, but I'm spending most of the money I'm making on flights, because I was doing this a lot, because I didn't know what to do at this time. It's like I didn't have anyone to ask, like, what do you do in this situation? So my solution was just to keep flying back and forth. So I would literally catch a flight on a Friday morning to Miami, leave Friday evening to Miami. I did that like 4 or 5 times. Then it got to the point where, like, I can't keep doing this, because someone would pay me maybe $1,000 for 4 days for it, but I'm spending $600 just to fly out there. So I'm only making $400. So what I did was I added my maid to the lease, and that way they gave her a resident ID card, and she herself could let people in and out, and I would just pay her a little bit extra. So that's how I did the Miami thing. Now, when it comes to Houston, mind you, after I got that 7,000, I quit my job. I was like, this is what I'm doing. Like, there's no way I could ever find anything that pays me $7,000 in 3 days. Like, so, I had a bunch of free time. So when I got apartments, I would just clean them myself until I got to the point where I couldn't do it myself, and I got a maid. But in between that, I had a friend who works for Coca-Cola. I told him, like, hey, this is what I got going on. Do you want to get in on it too? He was like, yeah. So I think 2 apartments, me and him split together. He helped me with some of those. So he kind of took the pressure off me to clean those by myself. And the rest, how can I put that? I learned about corporate housing doing this, because long story short is, you're not technically supposed to do this in apartments. They call it subleasing. I didn't know anything about this. So when I was in Sky House, mind you, I'm living in Sky House, but I'm still renting out. And when it's rented out, I was just going to stay at my grandma's house or with a friend or with the female. I didn't care. I'm like, people are paying me $1,200 for 4 days, and my rent's only $1,500. So they're paying me handsomely to go sleep on the couch for a few days. I don't mind. But I kept getting lease violations along the way, because we had a concierge in Scout. So people would check in, they would say, hey, I'm here to stay in the Airbnb, and I would get in trouble every time. So how I combated that was, there's a guy named Sean, I can't pronounce his last name, Rakijis. If you're in this space, you know him now as Airbnb Automated. But long before he was ever doing YouTube videos, he was doing Airbnb before he ever started doing YouTube videos. He had 3 places. He had 3 units where I stayed at. So what I did was I changed my Airbnb profile name to Sean. That way, when a guest checked in, they wouldn't say, hey, I'm here to stay at Lorenzo's place. They would say, hey, I'm here to stay at Sean's place.
Not to cut you off.
They was letting him do it, and I couldn't figure out why. Like, why they let him do it, but they give me lease violations? So I ended up learning about corporate housing just from going on Google. Like, I would just spend hours on Google, like, how is this man getting away with having all these places and no repercussions for doing this? Because I've got lease violation after lease violation to the point where they eventually terminated my lease because I kept getting called up so many times. But so that's how I end up. If you ever to see my Airbnb profile, it says Sean. Also, man, y'all can see my profile. I got tattoos everywhere. I'm a black man, so racism is still prevalent, especially here in Texas. So I changed my whole profile to a white man on Airbnb because, most of the clients that I cater to are white businessmen and women. So they want to spend money with their own kind. So I learned that quickly. So I changed my whole profile to that of a white man. I went on Google one day, I just typed in white man smiling, picked the best looking picture that I thought was friendly. And I've been rocking with that since then. I'm over like 1,000 reviews now just on that profile alone. So that happened. I learned about corporate housing. I went and through legal Zoom, created me an LLC. I just took my name, spelled it backwards, and I started getting leases in my LLC name. That way I learned with corporate housing, they can't really define who can be in and out of your place versus if it's just you on the lease because it's owned by an entity and not one person. So I can say, hey, this person's here on business versus if the lease was under my name, they can give me a lease violation for having you in the apartment. And what I was doing at this time, like I said, this is before Airbnb Automated came along. The guy Sean, I would just follow him. So I would go to the Airbnb app, look at his profile, I see where he's doing Airbnb, and I would just follow him. So if he's doing it at this location, I'm going to give me places over here too. And I just did that rinse and repeat to the point where I got to 13 units at the most. And at this point, I'm still cleaning them myself. Just me and one of my homeboys who had time to do it when he was off of work. And then eventually, I took the model that I did in Miami where I put the Craigslist ad in, and I got me a team of maids here that was paying, I think like $550 a week, but they were cleaning all my places. So that's how I was able to scale up so quickly. And also, like once you do this, you get addicted. So literally for 7 months straight, I got a new place every month for 7 months straight. And I'm spending, 3 to 4K each time I do this to get a new place. But I didn't care. I'm like, okay, once I'm done doing this, all this money is going to be mine at the end of the day. Once I start reinvesting in the business. And it comes quick. I done had, $20,000 months. On average, I'm after all bills paid, my profit is still $9K a month. So it was like, to me, that's a lot of money. So I was living like a king at the time. So that's how I was able to scale so quick because I would just reinvest all my profits right back into the business.